blonde hair. Height 5'4", shoe size 5. 24 bust, 35 waist. 36 bust, 24 waist, 35 hip, sorry. She was a sleepwalker and she had a fear of crowds. Miss Elizabeth Ruth Grable, also known as Betty Grable, the girl with the $1 million legs. I have always had like an interest with World War II and the romance that accompanied it. Like today, I was married to a guy in the military, and it's just not, it's nice to have the technology and things like that, but just the romance that went with it, that's all they had to hold on to was a picture or a letter. Anyways, but hearing the stories from my elders and how the lovely ladies would give them that hope and morale to make them fight harder to want to come home has always interested me. Today, I will discuss Miss Betty Grable and some of her history that younger generations may not know of. She was one of the most recognized actresses of her era, thought to be one of the first pinup girls of World War II, and some of her life struggles that she eventually conquered. Betty Grable is still to this day a very well recognized part of American history. From her first film at age 13 to her being in the top 100 photographs that changed American history. She will never be forgotten, especially with her white bathing suit. Does everybody kind of know who I'm talking about now? The over-the-shoulder girl? Okay. She was the most recognized actress of her era. She was born on December 18th, 1916 in St. Louis, Missouri. Betty was the youngest of 3 children. At age 13, her and her mother traveled to Hollywood, and she got her first acting career as a chorus girl, but the legal age was 15, so when they found out that she was only 13, they cut her loose. She was the #1 female box office attraction in 1942, 43, and 44, and she stayed in the top 10 for the next decade. She was in 80-plus films in her lifetime. Some of her more famous films were Tin Pan Alley in 1940, Coney Island in 1943, and Pinup Girl in 1944, and she was also in the one with Marilyn Monroe, too. Justin Tadlock, an author from WordPress who wrote Betty Grable, the Girl with $1 Million Legs in 2011, said that Betty was the highest paid woman in America in 1946 and 1947, bringing in almost $300,000 a year. And that was in the 40s, so can you imagine, like nowadays, like she had some money. Miss Grable was the #1 pinup girl during World War II. Aaron Knight, a student from Holyoke College in South Hadley, Massachusetts, says in his article that Betty was not actually the first pinup girl, and that was Dorothy Lamour, but Betty had overtook it with her famous over-the-shoulder pose. Derek Halstead, a journalist from the Digital Journalist, wrote an entry, Betty Grable 1942, top 100 photos that changed our country. The troops of World War II were desperate for a link to home to remind them what they were fighting for. Miss Grable's picture with her $1 million legs were the perfect balm what ailed them. Betty's legs were insured by her studio MGM for $1 million per leg at Lloyd's of London, hence the nickname the girl with $1 million legs. Betty never traveled with the USO, but would go across the United States and auction her nylons at bond rallies for thousands of dollars to participate in war efforts. This is from Knight, author Knight. About 5 million copies of her famous pose were in the hands of the GIs during the war, and the over-the-shoulder pose was the only one that was used for this purpose. It is believed that the term pinup was truly born with Betty Grable's photo. Betty was a representation of the girl back home for thousands of homesick young lads, and for some, she may have been their only infatuation, the last girl they had ever lusted for, loved, or adored. She was company on the GIs, but had no way of knowing exactly how much. It was more than a sexy picture that
enamored them of her. There was a magical wholesomeness and substance that they saw behind the curves of her figure. It was her very essence that was loved. But Betty also had hard times, with her failing marriages and later in life developing lung cancer. Betty's first marriage was to Jackie Coogan in 1937 and ended after 3 years. Her second marriage was to Henry James in 1943. The couple had 2 daughters, Victoria and Jessica, and their marriage lasted 22 years, but eventually failed due to debt, alcoholism, and infidelity. Betty never married again, but was seeing Bob Runick until she passed away. In 1972, she was diagnosed with lung cancer. She battled it for 1 year, and on July 2nd, 1973, she passed away. She was laid to rest at Inglewood Cemetery in Inglewood, California. Today I've given you a little bit of history about a great female American legend. Betty Grable was a beautiful American girl that left her mark in history. She's an unforgettable, enduring icon of American beauty. With her charm and beauty, she has touched the hearts of many Americans, and there will still be more to come.